Let me tell you a story about how a trusted tool, something you could get from an official app store, went completely rogue. It's a fascinating look at what happens when a piece of digital real estate gets abandoned and someone else, with much darker intentions, decides to move in.
So think about this number for a second. Over 4,000. That's how many Microsoft accounts were totally compromised by one single, deceptively simple tool. We're talking everything: passwords, credit card numbers, even those secret security answers, all stolen and sent straight to an attacker.
And get this, this wasn't some sophisticated virus or a tricky phishing email. The attack came from an add-in. You know, one of those little programs meant to make Outlook better, downloaded directly from Microsoft's very own Office store. But here's the craziest part. The person who originally made the app, they had absolutely nothing to do with the attack.
So how in the world does a helpful, legitimate application turn into a weapon? Well, to really get it, we need to rewind and look at where it all began.
The tool was called AgreeTo, and it was a totally real open-source project. It even had a Chrome extension with over 1,000 users, great reviews, and this Outlook add-in. People actually liked it. They found it useful for scheduling meetings. This was a real developer trying to build a real business.
But by 2023, development just stopped. The developer walked away. The project's main website domain expired. Now, Google eventually removed the Chrome extension, but the Outlook add-in, it just sat there, still live in the Microsoft Store, pointing to a now dead, abandoned corner of the internet. And this, right here, is where our story takes a sharp turn. An abandoned app, one that people still trust, is basically like leaving your front door wide open. Let's take a look at who decided to walk right in. The takeover itself was shockingly simple. I mean, the attacker didn't have to hack Microsoft servers or anything like that. Nope. They just waited for the specific web address that the add-in used to become available again. As soon as the original developer's hosting was deleted, the attackers swooped in, claimed that exact same address, and uploaded their own code, a phishing kit designed to look like a Microsoft login page.
So you can see this huge disconnect, right? Users are downloading and installing what they think is a Microsoft-approved scheduling tool. But because the attacker now controls the destination, the add-in suddenly serves up a fake sign-in page designed to steal every password and credit card number they enter. It was a classic bait and switch, and it was happening right inside an application that everyone trusted.
Okay, so you've got to be asking yourself, how is that even possible? How can the entire purpose of an approved app just change overnight without anyone noticing? Well, the answer is baked into the very design of how these Office add-ins work. This is the absolute key to understanding the whole thing. An Office add-in isn't like a normal program that you download and install. It's much simpler. Think of it more like a tiny web browser window that's embedded right inside of Outlook. All it really does is load whatever content is at a specific URL on the internet.
So the process starts when a developer sends Microsoft something called a manifest file. Just think of this as the blueprint for the add-in. It's a simple text file that says, here's my app's name, here's its icon, and, most importantly, here is the web address where you can find all of its content. Microsoft then takes a look at this blueprint, this manifest file, and if everything seems okay, they approve it and they digitally sign it. That signature is what gives the add-in its trusted status in the store. But notice what they're approving. They're approving the blueprint, not the actual building itself. And right there, that's the fatal flaw. Once that blueprint is approved, whoever owns the URL can change the content at that address anytime they want. They can swap a helpful scheduling tool for a malicious phishing page, and Microsoft's system is completely blind to it. The trusted window frame is still there, but the view outside has suddenly become incredibly dangerous. You know, what makes this whole story even crazier is that this wasn't some brand new, unforeseen kind of attack. This exact vulnerability, it was actually predicted in detail years before it ever happened. Yeah, way back in 2019, a security firm called MDSec published this incredibly detailed white paper, and in it, they laid out exactly how an attack like this could be carried out. You fast forward a few years and boom, the AgreeTo incident happens, proving their theory was 100% correct. I mean, they couldn't have been more clear about it. Listen to this quote from that 2019 paper. It lays out the problem perfectly, warning about the fundamental risk of having these apps point to web content that can be changed at any time. The potential problem they saw then just became a very, very real one.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why should this one hijacked add-in really matter to all of us?
Well, what makes this attack so dangerous is how it just slips past all the security we normally rely on. For starters, it's coming from Microsoft's own infrastructure, so it looks trustworthy. It's not an email, so it completely dodges all of our email security filters. And since it's just a web page running inside a legitimate Microsoft program, your antivirus and other security tools often don't see anything wrong. It's like a ghost in the machine.
And here's a truly chilling thought. It could have been so much worse. See, the original AgreeTo add-in needed permission to read and write your emails so it could schedule meetings. When the attacker took over, they inherited those permissions. They had the power to secretly read every victim's inbox or even send phishing emails to all of their contacts. Thankfully, for whatever reason, they didn't go that far.
Now, once this was all brought to light, the story does find a resolution. Microsoft immediately pulled the malicious add-in from their store, and they took action to help protect the customers who might have been affected. They closed this specific loophole for good.
But this whole incident leaves us with a really big and kind of uncomfortable question. We put a massive amount of trust in these official app stores. We assume they're safe, curated spaces. But when an approved app can be turned into a weapon without any warning, it forces us to rethink that trust. In this digital world we live in, who is ultimately responsible for keeping us safe?